I'm the Rules Girl, and this is Zaya, Legends of a Drift System, a competitive sandbox space adventure for 3 to 5 players. In Zaya, players are space captains, carving a name for themselves in the vast reaches of a star system. Players will explore the system and complete missions, while collecting resources and combating other players around the table. The goal of the game is to win, and you win by being the first to achieve the required number of fame points. Players will start the game with a unique small ship, and will explore nearby sectors to reveal and plan their own paths to victory. Players can gain fame points by destroying other ships, revealing specific exploration tokens, selling cargo, completing missions, and more. In order to win, players will also need to manage risk and protect their ships. Each ship has statistics and a unique ability. Players can upgrade to better ships and also purchase outfits to equip their ships with abilities, such as moving and attacking other ships. Zaya is played over a number of rounds, and each player's turn is divided into 3 phases. 1. The action phase, 2. The business phase, and 3. The status phase. During your action phase, you may take any number of these actions. 1. Movement, 2. Cargo cubes, 3. Exploration, 4. Missions, and 5. Attacking. In general, you can take as many actions as you'd like, so long as you have the armed markers, energy, or other requirements needed. To move, spend 1 armed marker by placing it onto a free engine space. Then, roll the matching die on the engine. You may now move up to as many spaces as you rolled. Once per turn, you may flip your impulse token and move your ship up to your impulse value. Players can move through other ships, but cannot end on an occupied space. Players can also take actions on adjacent occupied spaces, so long as they can spend 2 movement to do so. When moving, players will encounter many different borders, including stars, asteroid fields, nebulae, debris, and more. These can affect movement and line of sight. Once entered, follow the special movement rules depicted on the back of the rulebook. For example, when entering an asteroid field, roll a d20. If you rolled 11 through 20, you'll enter safely. But if you rolled a 1 through 10, your ship must take damage equal to your roll. Players can also move on to different planets using the planetary entrance. Planets are either classified as lawful, outlaw, or neutral. Players that have bounties are outlaw ships and cannot enter lawful planets. Players without bounties are innocent ships and will gain a 1,000 credit bounty for entering an outlaw planet. All players, outlaws or innocents, can also avoid the planetary entrance and attempt to enter the planet through the planetary shield. To do this, roll a d20 and take damage equal to your roll on 1 through 10, pass through, but take a 1,000 credit bounty on 11 through 17, and pass freely on 18 through 20. Cargo cubes can be acquired from certain spaces and bought and sold on planets. Purchased cubes are always bought in sets of 2. Pay the cost of the listed cargo cubes and add them to your hold. You may also sell cargo cubes if you have the matching type listed on the space. If you sell 2 or more cubes at once, take a fame point. When mining, salvaging, or harvesting cubes, go to the corresponding locations on these sectors. Roll the d20 and refer to these charts to determine the success of your attempt. When you're adjacent to an empty sector, you may explore it. There are 2 ways to explore: scanning and blind jumping. To scan, spend 1 energy and reveal the top tile from the sector deck. Place this tile face up in the adjacent sector, matching the symbols of the edge your ship is adjacent to. Next, place exploration tokens face down onto the corresponding locations. If you ever move over an exploration token, flip it over and gain its reward. If you have movement left from your move action, you can also blind jump. To do this, spend 1 movement point, declare the space you'll move to, and reveal the adjacent sector tile, following the placement rules as before. But beware, you must accept the consequences of the space you move into, even if you move into a star, which will immediately destroy your ship. You may get new missions from each mission space once per turn. Move into a mission space and draw the top 3 mission cards. Keep up to 1 card and discard the rest. This is now your active mission. There are two types of missions. Lawful missions, which include researching, shuttling passengers, and hunting bounties, and outlaw missions, which include smuggling, thieving, and assassinations. Each mission card has an objective to complete and a reward for completing the mission. On completing your objective, flip the mission card face up and place the payment onto the card. Once you've moved on to the specified location, take the payment and 1 fame point, flip the mission card face down, and end your movement. Some missions require you to roll a d20. If you're not satisfied with your roll, if you've already completed a mission of the same type, you can use this as experience and discard the old mission card to roll again. To attack, first determine if your target is both in range and in line of sight. Blaster outfits can only hit adjacent ships, but missile outfits have a range of 2 to 6 spaces. Count the spaces orthogonally between the target and your ship to determine the range. Next, check line of sight by drawing an imaginary line from the center of your ship space to the center of your target space. If there are no obstacles, you have line of sight. However, if there are any asteroids, empty sectors, debris fields, planetary shields, or planetary entrances, you do not have line of sight. Once you've determined range and line of sight, declare the ship you will be attacking, and activate any abilities and outfits you'd like to use in the attack. Next, the defender will activate any of their own abilities and any shield outfits they'd like. Now, starting with the attacker, all players in combat will roll the matching dice for any outfit or abilities they've activated. Next, resolve combat by adding the dice rolls and any abilities from the attacker together. If the defender used any abilities or activated shields, subtract that number from the attack and gain that many leftover damage markers. Finally, combat ends, and all surviving defenders who activated shields may rearm their spent markers for 1 energy each. Damage markers must be placed into your ship onto any locations you choose. Damage markers decrease your cargo space, and when placed into an outfit, decrease your uses of that outfit, and also decrease any dice rolls by 1 for each marker present. If all the spaces in your hold have damage markers, your ship is destroyed. Remove your ship from the board, place all your cargo cubes onto the space your ship was on, and discard your active mission and damage markers. If you had any bounty, give it to the player who destroyed you. Reset your energy, markers, and ability cards. If you're in a Tier 1 ship, you'll respawn on your next turn. But if you're a Tier 2 or 3, you'll lose your next turn, respawning on the following turn. To respawn, roll the d20 and place your ship on the closest numbered spawn point. If you run out of energy and aren't markers, you're stranded. You may only take minor actions, but may use your impulse token for movement. Other players can rescue you on their turns by moving adjacent to your ship and spending 2 energy. If they do this, they will receive 1 fame point, while you receive 2 energy and may immediately rearm your markers. After finishing your action phase, if you're on a planet, you may now conduct your business phase. Otherwise, move on to the status phase. On your business phase, you may do any of these things. 1. Recharge your energy meter to full. 2. Repair damage. Tier 1 and 2 ships must spend 1,000 to repair all damage markers, and a Tier 3 ship must spend 2,000. 3. Purchase new outfits and add them to your hold. 4. Sell undamaged outfits for half their original cost, rounded up. 5. Rearrange any items in your hold, excluding damage markers. 6. Upgrade to the next ship tier. Tier 2 costs 5,000 credits, and Tier 3 costs 8,000. Gain 1 fame point when you do this, and transfer all outfits to the new ship. And finally 7. Purchase 1 fame for 5,000 credits. In the status phase, you'll finish your turn by following these steps. 1. Claim titles and fame points. If you fulfill the requirements for a title card, gain its fame points and its ability for the rest of the game. 2. Reveal new title cards if your marker was the first to pass one of these spaces. 3. Refresh abilities and impulse tokens. And 4. Arm disarmed markers for the next round by spending 1 energy for each. If you're on a planet, rearming is free. Finally, if you're controlling an NPC ship, it's now time to activate it. NPC ships are autonomous units, which have predefined movement, attacks, and behaviors. When exploring, if you draw the specified sector tile for an NPC ship, place the ship onto the spawn point. NPC ships have special actions, each of which are described on the ship's card. After your turn, if you control an NPC ship, do the actions on the card. After that, it's now the next player's turn. Play continues until the status phase, where one player moves their marker onto the victory point space. That player wins the game. Ready to play? Shuffle the sector tiles and place one tile with a spawn point for each player in the center of the table, lining up and matching edge symbols. Shuffle the exploration tokens into a face-down pile, then place one on each exploration space. Shuffle the mission, title, and NPC cards and place them near the board, giving an NPC card and its matching miniature to 3 players. Place the cargo cubes, damage markers, credits, and dice nearby. Place the fame track nearby and decide the required number of fame points to win the game, placing the victory marker on that total. Separate the 3 tiers of ship mats and cards. Each player rolls the d20. Then, starting with the highest roller, each player chooses a Tier 1 ship mat, matching miniature and ability card, and proceeding with the next player counterclockwise. Players place their ships onto the closest spawn point to them. Each player takes 3 credits and a How to Win card, then places an impulse token, yellow side up, here on their mat. Next, place markers on the 0 on the fame track, the highest number on their energy meters, and the rest onto the armed section. In counterclockwise order, starting with the highest roller as before, each player now spends credits to purchase outfits which fit into their hold. The player who picked their ship last goes first. If you liked Xayah, you might also like the expansions Xayah, Embers of a Forsaken Star, or Xayah, Missions and Powers from Faroff Games. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking it or subscribing to the Dice Tower for rules explanations, reviews, and more.